Hey guys, it's ShadowGuard here, and I have a mod tutorial for you today. This is going to be how to mod the Vortex Proton. Okay, so first thing you're going to do is remove all the screws. They're all on the same side here. But before you're going to do that, there are two screws that go up here and down there, and you're going to remove those. That pops off just like that. Okay, all the screws are the same size. This is going to come off, and on this side you're going to have the internals. On the other side there's going to be this piece, and then just nothing. This side you can just leave it. Now the first thing we're going to do is remove a lock, which is this thing right here, right? And the way we're going to do that is take your tiny screwdriver and just push on that a little. Then take some needle nose pliers, and grasp them right there, and just yank it out. Okay, that's what it should look like finished. And you can just take this, set it back in there like that, and that's done. Next thing we're going to work on is the torsion spring. Not many vortex guns. I think the Praxis is the only other one you can do this on, but you can't upgrade this spring. Now, in order to take this apart, there are two screw wells here and here. Remove the screws. All the screws are the same size, by the way. I think I already mentioned that. And this pops out like that. So we'll move that aside, and the first thing we're going to do with this is, you can see the way this works. This flings the disc, because it's cocked like that, and then it's like a sled. It launches the disc out of the blaster. So what you're going to do first is take your needle nose pliers, remove the pin that goes right here. Make sure you don't lose that. And this is going to look like that. Next thing you're going to do is take your screwdriver and unscrew that metallic screw right there. There we are. And then you should, with your needle nose pliers again, lift that up. It should spring out of there like that. Then just wrench that out of place, and you'll be left with this torsion spring piece floating around. And the objective for this is, you can see that there's actually look like around 3 screw wells. Here, here, and there. And you want this middle one, the middle one. So just move this over to the side to where it's on the middle one. Then take that screw and screw it back into place. And I didn't screw that all the way in for the sake of time, because that would take a while, so that's hard to put in. But now the trickiest part is just going to be putting this back on and shoving it past this thing, which if you want you can take this off, this rubber padding. I don't, but if you want to, you're most welcome. What I generally find that works best is to move this pin forward first, then stick this thing on. So I will show you what this looks like when it is done. And that's what it should look like when it's done. You can see that that spring is now compressed even more, so this will have a harder prime. Not too much harder, but noticeably harder. And it should improve the accuracy and the distance a lot. So set that aside, and then we're going to move on to the main body of the gun. There are a ton of locks in this thing, So you're first going to start off by removing all of these screws. There's one here, here, there's two silver ones, and there's two more black ones there and there. Remove all of those. And that's what it should look like when all those screws are removed. Now, you got to be careful. You got to be careful when removing this piece, this layer, because there are a lot of springs under that and they will fly out and you will lose pieces. So, you just remove it gently. That's what it should look like. You can remove the trigger, which is just that, and we'll be moving on to this trigger in a second. You can see this piece along with this spring goes right there. Our main focus is going to be these pieces. They go right here, if I can zoom in a little for you. You can see these pieces and the associated spring, which is in there, which I can't reach right now. So this is a lock, and you do want to keep this lock because this will hold your bolt sled open. It's also a trigger lock, however, so in order to do that, we're going to have to cut into this trigger. Alright, and right there you see this kind of like angle extension right there. Just take a hobby knife like this into it and cut it, and just shave that down. Or you can take some wire cutters like these and just begin the cut. But I'll show you what that looks like when it is done. Next thing is this right here. Yet another safety and a bolt sled lock, or a sled lock, I guess. It's very easy to bypass this. All you have to do is, I have a little hacksaw right here, which I use, but just take this and saw the bottom of it off, like that, and I'll show you all of that once it's finished. Alright, so I've finished those, and you can see that the trigger, that piece is now gone, and that's all you have to do with that. As far as the other lock, you can see that it is now just this tiny piece that I can, just barely put the spring on, and that'll fit right back where it was. One more lock you want to remove is right here. This is the third one, and it looks like this, and this you can throw away because it is a disc lock. This makes it to where you cannot pull the trigger unless there is a disc chambered. Alright, so once you've finished all that, you can, with some difficulty, open this bottom layer up, and it's like this. Once you remove this, you will find this right here. You're just going to take your screwdriver, take that screw out, and then pull that out, throw that in the trash. That is a bolt sled lock. You'll notice I'm down to the bare essentials in this thing. Alright, make sure that you're careful and you don't lose any springs or pieces because this can get complicated. So I'm going to start putting the gun back together now, and I'll show you all of the finished internals in a second. Alright, so this is the finished internals. You can see I've screwed everything back in. And I can pull the trigger even though there's no disc in, and I can cock the blaster. and that will slide in because I don't have the other half on it. I'm going to put the torsion spring back in and close the gun back up, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. And here is the finished Proton. You can see the pull is a little bit harder, but I can deprime it, dry fire, which you don't want to do because that will break the launcher, and I will put a disc in there. So that's everything. If you guys have any problems or questions, post them in the comments below, and I'll see you next time, guys. I'm out.